All right, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for being a little late. Just got into something that was okay. So someone has already started recording. That's wonderful. So we are already recording. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. And I see a lot of people are already here. So no, Liam, that's not a problem. And I just sent a message. That's why. And for that, thank you very much for your messages. And let me share my screen. And I would like to discuss today about this. So I have a sort of unusual screen today. Like again, I am on a single screen right now. So so if you have a message, if you want to say something, like you ask question, please maybe unmute yourself and say to me. I might not be able to look at the chat frequently. Okay, so this is our session for programming JavaScript, and actually we started our week 5 yesterday, and we started some very interesting discussion on some of the concepts that were not relatively new for you guys. But let's see that how we just go about that. But we started talking about the object data type, and we saw that there is one object data type as like in dictionary in Python that you use, and that dictionary or that object data type is a very interesting one. And how to access that, to access those object like notations, we have dot notation, like again by using a dot operator, or we have an index notation that we can use for accessing the indexes. So if you are accessing through the indexes, we will use the start. Then we started talking about the object and its properties, and we see that there are multiple properties in one object. And then we saw that we can just log out the user. And then I told you that we can even include the functions inside the objects. And let me just uncomment that for a second, and just to show you something. So we can even have like the functions inside that one. And these functions, as we know that if someone will call that, it will access its own variable, this variable of logged in, and it will make it true. This logged in or is equal to false. So we then discussed that if you want to make multiple users, if I mark it comment back, I can create like this. User 1 is equal to Bob Smith and something like that. User 2 is equal to first name Christina, last name Lee, and this one. So you remember we could create any number of objects, but again, for creating those objects, we will have to always use the same code over and over. Now today, I'll talk about another very interesting aspect, but first of all, let's review the previous lecture. Then we talked about constructor function. We saw that, okay, instead of writing the code over and over, why not you do something? You define a function with the capital letter. Remember the capital letter? And if I did not mention that yesterday already, so I'll mention it over here, that a constructor function always starts with a capital letter. Make sense, everyone? It should be starting with a capital letter. You should have like it should. So function user, and I said that 1, 2, 3, 4. It is taking 4 parameters. And again, for those who are a little bit struggling with the concept of parameters, it can be any name. So I've given F for the first name, last name, email, and then level. So we say that it will take those values, it will set up the values with some of its own variables. So it will create first name, last name, email, level. It will create a department and set HR for everyone. This will create a logged in variable and set up false for everyone. So there are these two properties will be common for every object, though they will have a different first name, different last name, different email, different level, but they will have these two properties will be common for every one of them. Then we saw that, okay, we can have a function. This dot logged in is login is equal to function. Make my logged in true. This dot logout is equal to function. Make my login equal to false. So that's one constructor that we can use. And if we have this constructor, I told you that I can use these 3 ways of creating the objects. And now I will have these 3 objects that I can use in my program, right? And then, we saw that we can take out different values out of it, etc., etc., etc. Now, there came the question of var and let and const, and I'm really I am really hopeful that now you guys understand this very clearly. What is var? The scope of var is a function level scope, and it is just only recognized in the body of the function where it is declared. And then let is another way of defining variables, but it has a block level scope. Wherever the block we have just defined that, it will be just visible or live in that block. Otherwise, after that block, it will just get died. Constant, a constant value that cannot be taken once defined, cannot be changed. This is a bit of shaky definition. I'll talk about that. Even though this definition is 100% correct, const is a value that cannot change, but we'll see a different shape of that one. So we talked about this var, let, and const. So I'll just comment that one, because it was the variable discussion, and I have to move back to our previous discussion. But first of all, I'm just opening up the chat for myself just to have a quick and think that I can have a look at that one. Is everyone with me? Are you getting this review that we have just reviewed what we have done yesterday? And today I would like to just continue with some of the things, because I want to give you a very nice thing over here. Okay, Mallory, thank you. Ethan, hi, thank you. Valentine, thank you. Right, so let's go back. Okay, so actually, I'll continue with this concept of this constructor. So what I'll do is that I will copy this from here and mark it comment, and I'll just do this again for today, right? Just for the purpose that we have. Now, I want you to focus on something very important. Whenever I create a new object of a class, like of this constructor, I've created one object name is Alan. Second object name is Bob. Third object. Now, this might be possible that I need to call Alan dot login. I might call it. I might call logout function with Bob, logout. I may call that one. Maybe I say Chris dot login, something like that. Now, try to understand what I'm trying to say here. Even though, if I will be needing these methods, then I will explicitly call them. If I need them, I will call them. I will never call them. So for example, if I don't call and I say just, okay, I don't. Okay, am I back? Looks like there was an internet glitch, something. Am I back with you guys? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, all good now.
Okay, Tina, thank you. Tina, thank you very much. So see here. That, bro. Let's come to that one. And now I can run more script.js. So you see that I'm getting the object over here. Now, interestingly, the point I want to make over here, whether I call or not these two functions, whenever I create a new object for myself, do you know they will always be part of the body of the object. I'm repeating that, and I want you guys to just try to understand the concept. Whenever I create a new object, even though I call or not, these two functions will always be the part of the body of every object that I create. Does that make... Oh, I'm not sharing the screen. Valentine says that share screen. My screen is not shared, Valentine?
It was shared until a moment ago.
Oh, Okay, just give me a second. Is it there now?
Looks good now.
Okay, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Okay, Tina, thank you. Oh, I understand. So when I open up the Teams window, it might go freeze up. Anyhow, so if you look at that one, are you guys understanding this one? The concept that whenever I create a new object, the body of the object will contain all these things. And these two functions, again, whether I call it or not, whether I call them or not, they will be the part of the body of the function. I hope that's making sense to everyone. Now, what I want to make here, JavaScript provides a concept called prototypal inheritance. Prototypal inheritance. What does it say? I will just prototypal inheritance. What is prototypal inheritance? JavaScript says that all those methods or properties that we don't want every object to carry, we put them in the prototype of the constructor method. Now, what does that mean? I'll just let you know. It says JavaScript says that you create this object. See here, like create the constructor, and I'll just comment this previous out, right? Because I don't want them to hinder something. So now JavaScript says that if there is something that you might not want to use over here, like that you may or may not call during the execution, rather than defining them inside the function body, remove them from there. I'll comment that out and place them in something called the prototype of this constructor. What is the prototype? User dot prototype dot login is equal to. Now see here. Now I've taken this function out and I have stored them something which is called prototype, user.prototype.login. I'm saying that in user constructors prototype, I'm defining a function login, and that function will do this. I'll do the same with the logout function. Come here. I'll say the prototype of user, prototype.logout equal to function, and this dot logged in is equal to false. How many of you are understanding what I'm saying? So virtually what I've done, I have deleted them from here. So I'll take it away, so just to make things life easier. I have not made these two functions part of the body of the object. What will be the benefit of that? Look at the benefit first of all. So I say let ln is equal to new user ln space, and what was the third parameter? It's email. So ln at Gmail. And the last one is the level. So I'll say level 2, for example. Now, let's see how many of you understand that. If I console.log ln and I console.log ln and look at my output, I'll just make it bigger so that you can see both of the outputs. If I just run it again, how many of you understand what I've done? Because I might have thousands of objects in my program. So rather than putting this login logout function inside that so that it does not become the part of the body of the object, I have placed that into a something called prototype of the function, the prototype of the constructor function. Now, is that login and logout available for my disposal? Let me check that one. So you see that right now it shows department is equal to HR level 3 that false. And if I just come here and I say ln dot login, and I again print this one. How many of you understood what is happening now? If I need that function, I can always call that. And you see that when I call that, it makes it true. To start with, it was false, but I call that function in my program. I call that function, and as I call my function, what happens is that as I call my function, you see, this function is not directly the part of the body, but it is somewhere in the prototype of the user from where I can access it properly. Can I have someone respond to this one? Are you guys understanding this? What I'm saying? And again, you might don't see the screen, and so it should. Generally, you're understanding. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Where you saved it as a user prototype, does that mean it's only available to user? Yes, exactly, exactly. Even it will be only available to the user. Even what you can say that it's actually in the prototype of the user. Now, I would like to show you something very interesting. This is our browser that we were working with in front end, but I want to show you something. This prototype is nothing new. You guys already know this, and I'll tell you why. If I go to console and I say var um, something is equal, or like let's say var name is equal to John Smith, something like that. Now look at that. If I say name dot length, now tell me, did you create this length object from with this one? No, this automatically came with the object of name. Name has a lot of properties that I can see. So if I write name dot, you see that how many functions are available with name dot, and where are these name functions? I want to see that where are these functions. If I just write this name, or rather, if I create another string, let's see. If I create another string, I say let name is equal to new string. You remember we can create a string like this as well. And I say John Smith, right? Now, if I write name, look at that. When I say name, it says it's a string and it has John Smith value. Not only that, if I open this one, this arrow, it says that JOHN, all of these are stored in an array like that. And if you look at that here, do you guys see the prototype word here? Prototype. What is in the prototype of this string? If I open that, there are all those functions that I can apply on that. They are in the prototype. So when I create a new string, they automatically do not become the part of the body of the name. But when if I use that, they are basically where. If I go into that one, I'll find out, oh, there is something called prototype. So in string prototype, even are you getting that? In string prototype, these functions are defined. In every prototype, like when we are creating, we are basically, why did it change from false to true? Oh, so Jennifer, it's actually, how did it change from false to true? Because I called this function. Look at there. Jennifer, do you understand? ln.login. When I call this function is accessible because it is in the prototype of user. So it accesses that, and after accessing it changes the logged in from false to true. Jennifer, you getting that one? Okay, understood. That's wonderful. Even did you get what I was just saying in my wonderful. So it's actually in the prototype. So prototype is something which has lots of things, but they directly never become part of our string. They are not directly part of a string. But if I want to use that, you see name dot to uppercase. This is not a function that I have defined. This is a function that was coming from the prototype. If you look at the prototype of this string, you'll find two uppercase. I'll show you. You see two uppercase is a method, is a function. Two uppercase. Are you getting that one? Length, trim left, trim end, trim. They're all functions which are with the string, and they come up in the prototype of that. In the same way, what we do when we define a user prototype, what we do is that we define like something that we don't even you might come up with this idea. You say that, Naman, since department and logged in variables are also going to be, default one, you're just taking these four. Why not you take them out as well? Okay. You see, so it's not only the functions that can go out, variables can go out as well. So you see here, if I say user dot prototype dot department equal to HR. For every object, the prototype, every object of user, the department should be HR. User dot prototype dot logged in equal to false. By default, make every object false. Now look at that. This is very interesting. I've even taken away this one as well from this one. And that will really do something cool for me. What it is doing now, if I run my program, do you see that the object that is created, it has only 1, 2, 3, 4 fields. And do you see, for the second time, when I have changed the logged in value, it has applied, it has accessed that logged in value as well. Why? Because I have just changed that one and it is accessing that value over here. Make sense, everyone? So even though it is not there, but it is not there over here. When I change the value for that one, it has come over here and it says that now logged in is equal to true. But by default, logged in is not available. Does that make sense to everyone? Because if you understand that one, I would really like to talk about something else from now onward, because there are a lot of other things interesting. Everyone with me? Ethan, Jana, and Manny, like Manny, because I have not seen Mohammed. Are you with me? Are you understanding? Everyone is with me, so let's move forward. Thank you, Jana. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you, Jenny. Janiel, this is good. Rebecca, thank you very much. Okay, let's move forward. So this is the way, this is called prototypal inheritance. Now, what is prototypal inheritance? All those methods and properties that we don't want every object to carry when they are created, we put them in the prototype the construct method. We can call them when needed, but they would not become a part of the code when we create the objects. Right, that's wonderful. And I hope you guys are understanding that. Now, I would like to discuss one more thing, which is very, very interesting. We are continuing this one and we'll talk about this a lot again. But I wanted to talk something related to yesterday. Do you guys remember that yesterday I was creating object like this, where user is equal to, so I say first name, when I was creating the users, like, right? So for example, I say Alan Smith, again, I'll keep the same names. And last name, I'm about to tell you something very interesting that you will really enjoy. So last Smith, let first name is Alan, for example. Oh, why not I copy the user from previous one? Why in the world I'm typing? So we created this user object in the beginning without this um, constructor. Let me just copy this one. Control C, Control V, and I'll uncomment that one. I want to show you something. So we have a user object, without constructor. We have just created one user object. If I say that I want to create not user, I want to create users objects. Now, how would we do that? I'll come here and I'll write let users is equal to array. Makes sense, everyone? I want to create an array. Now, array of what? I would put three user objects into that one. Are you guys understanding what I'm saying? What I'll do, I'll copy this part from here and I'll paste in the first curly brackets. Save, first curly bracket. Now, I'll paste the same in the second curly bracket and I'll paste the same in third curly bracket. And then I'll change the values. Now, what I'll do, the first one is Alan. The second one, I'll just change the value with Bob. And why not? Let's change the email. And I keep in logged in is equal to true for him. And I say level is 1. And I come over here and third in is again Christina. Sorry. Christina, and let's change the email because I want to show you something, how you would access the values. Logged in is true, false, and the value, the level is 4, like that. Are you guys understanding that I have got the array now? Array of objects. Like I don't need this one anymore because I was just showing that for the example. This is an array of objects. Array of objects. Now, if I ask you, how many of you understand if I write console.log users of 0, can anyone tell me without running what will be my output over here? If I print users of 0, what will be my output? Users of 0. Yes, who will tell me what will be my output if I write users of 0? ln object, that's wonderful. ln object, not all, Katrina, it will be ln object. And see, let's run that one. Let's run that one. I'll run that. I'll just come here and I'll say, you see, just ln object. So Katrina, just look at that, because users of 0 means only the first record of this array, and the first record of this array is this object. Now, Katrina, I have this question to you. If I write users of 0 dot last name, can you tell me what will be printed out now? Katrina, can you answer? You'll understand that, because I want you guys to understand. What will be the output now? If I say 0 of like last, wonderful, Smith. Rob says Smith. Katharina says Smith. That's wonderful. Smith, because now it will be just accessing. Now, why I'm discussing that, because there were few things that you were not understanding too much. So I wanted to talk about that. Now, if I want to run all the first names from out of these users, I can first name, for example. So I'll say, if I say first name. So I want to print the second one, console.log users of 1 dot first name. And let's type it again, like third time. I'll say users of 2 dot first name. Now I've just given you an example. Do you think this is the good idea to access every first name like this? Never a good idea, because you don't know how many elements in array would be there. Are you guys getting that one? So rather than writing this like this, so it will just give me all the first names. Look at that. Alan, Bob, and Christina. It is giving me all first names. But it's never a good idea. What is the good idea? Like, again, what is the proper way of doing that one? The proper way is the first way. I'm again telling you those looping that we have learned. First of all, I use var. For example, I say let I is equal to 0, I less than. Now, what will be that? I will say users dot length. Go to the less than of the users dot length and I plus plus. Now I'll say console.log, and I would say the users of I dot first name. How many of you understand this? Because if you understand this, you are already getting the concept that we are trying to discuss it. You see, just using a for loop, we have done that one. Everyone gets that? You understand for loop? I've just used the for loop and printed that. Angelica, thank you. You understand the concept. Got it. Wonderful. The Jennifer, do you with me? Yes, exactly. Could be millions of records. For loop. That's wonderful. Now, not only for loops, I would like to talk about some other that were confusing a little bit. There was another one. If I just come here and I say users dot for each, and that it receives a function, take one user out and apply a function, and console.log, the same thing, but again in a different way. I'll just say user dot first name. Do you understand the second type over here? Exactly the same thing. And again, Jennifer, please don't get confused. I'm trying to make it, again, simplifying it as much as possible. Users dot for each function user, take one user at a time and just console.log user. Make sense, everyone? Now, if I just print that one, of course, it will again do the same thing. It will again do the same thing. Now, this same can be written in arrow function syntax as well. What does that mean? If I just come over here, I keep this one and I say users dot for each. And here, instead of writing function, I write a parenthesis and I put a user there and I put that one and I say console.log user dot first name. Now let's run that one. Do you guys see that it is still working for each? Now, this is quite interesting. I have records and I can have millions of records, as someone said. Right. They were very right. We can have million. And by the way, just to make it interesting, I will copy and paste this Katrina multiple times, like Christina multiple times. This one, this one, this one. I've pasted it maybe 4 times because now Christina should appear 5 times. Oh, there is something wrong. I might have missed some syntax. Yeah. So I'll just do Control Z because okay. Yes, so I made a mistake somewhere. Let's see that. Yes, yes. Actually, I did not copy the comma from previous one. So that's why it was making a problem. More Control Z, more Control Z, more Control Z. Now is it good? I think it is. It should be good now. If I print that, I'm just, yes. So there are 3-1. Now I'll have to just, put a comma, and after that comma, I'll have to paste this. So I'll paste one more record over here till this point. Control C. Another record, and I put a comma, another record, I put a comma, and another record. So I just added 5 records, right? And now if I just run this one, if I just run this one here, if you look at that one, Alan, Bob, Christina, Christina. Now, not only this one, you know that I can bring out anything out of this user. So I can say, for example, user.email, user.email. I'll get all the emails over here. Are you guys getting that one? I hope you're in. Now, this is users.forEach, like, implement something on every value of user. Did you guys understand this for each with the arrow function? I hope everyone is understanding that one. For each with arrow function. Can I have a quick feedback on that one? Okay, zero. This zero is an index position used to access an array elements. Yes, yes, exactly. Anything, but it was an area code, and that's when we're using zero. Okay. So someone was asking a question when we did the reg expression. Didn't zero means, for example, the entire phone number? Oh, okay, okay, okay. So Jennifer, you are just trying to mix two different things. Here it is a bit different. Hopefully you got the answer from your colleagues, but I think that would be so. You guys have done this kind of thing with Peter, I think, reading out the data, but of course you never remember that what that typical thing is doing. Now, if I just tell you another interesting, very, very interesting thing, if I just come here and I say let new users equal to users dot map user, and so user dot first name dot to uppercase. Look at that. How many of you understand this? If I run that one and if I print this new user, new users, and I just, I'm just stopping this one. I don't want this one to run. Clear. Look at that. Are you guys, someone was confused about the map function. What map function is doing? It is mapping every user with the first name to uppercase and just returning that. So we are getting a new array being created. For each does not automatically creates a new array. Even if it is returning, that's a different story. We'll have to catch that one. But over here, it is just returning the values and we are getting those stored in new users. Users.map. And this users.map is very important. I want you to do a little practice, a lot of practice. Yes, new array with yelling. You're right. Now, not only that we can do this kind of things. You see, you can do lots of wonderful things over here. So for example, you can apply regular expressions over here. You can apply all types of functions over here. You can say that trim all the first names. For example, first names might have multiple spaces, and here and there trim that and then return that. So for example, I'll show you something. If I go to my records and before Ellen, like the first name, I give multiple spaces, and after that I give multiple spaces. Sorry, I give multiple spaces. Same way as I do this with the Bob. Like I give some spaces in the beginning. Christina, I give some spaces in the end. And this Christina, I want to give some spaces on the beginning and in the end, something like that. Now, if I run that one, you see what will be the output. My output is again, it's very vivid because it is converting that into the capital letter. But of course, there are so many spaces. So do you guys remember that what we can do? We can chain up the functions and we can do a very interesting thing over here. We say user dot first name, first of all, trim it, and then to uppercase. Just introduce another function in between. Hit save. And now run our program. Now run our program. Did you guys get it? What we are doing? Are there any practice questions this week? We missed Monday. Ellen, what I'll do is that I'll try to publish some of the questions. Or we missed that on Monday, and I think the coming Monday is also. I don't know. Coming Monday will be open. Like it's again another. I think it's a government holiday. I don't know if about the next Monday, but anyhow, any case, Ellen, I would try to I would try to give you some practice questions, here, like, maybe upload that practice questions for you, right? Alan, that we missed, right? So we have next Monday and Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, the week after. Yes, Mallory. So yeah, you're right. So we'll just talk about that one. Okay. So did you guys get it? Like, did you guys get this one? This is very interesting. You can do a lots of interesting things on like it. I have done the first name. You can do that for the email. For example, you say, I just want the emails back. So it will just return in a new array, the emails in the capital letter. Emails should be all converted to the capital letter, right? And what else you can do? There are lots of interesting things. You can come over here and you can say user dot email. You see here, I'm just showing you different shapes. I'll just make it comment and copy this. So see here, I would say, look, how many of you people understand what I'm saying? User dot email dot starts with A. Just return those emails which start with A. Now, it is not returning the emails. It's actually returning what? It is just telling true and false. It's telling first one is true and or rest everyone is false. If I want to return the email by itself, we'll have to just, here it is just checking the email and it starts with a true, false, true, false, 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 whatever. And we can just put a condition that I want the complete email. I want the email out of it, whatever. I can just do that. If it states with C. So how many trues and false we have? Look at that. If I run this one, you see it's true, it's false, false, true, 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 true. All those which starting with Christina will be, or you can implement a lots of other logics over here. You may put a curly bracket and put a logic because here I'm taking just one statement being running over there. So now, would you guys be able to play with this data, the object data that we have? Like, we can have thousands of millions of data and you want to play with that data, you can always play with that one. So for example, this was just mapping that I was doing. Even if you don't want a map, you don't want to create something, you can always play with this for each. So you have for each and you will run a function. You will take one user out and you would say, for example, in curly brackets, you would say that if user dot first name dot length is greater than, for example, something like that, something like 4, 5, do something, do something, or, console.log that. Console.log user dot just user. Whenever the length is greater than 5, just print the user, that complete user. So see here, it is printing out. Of course, everyone is bigger than that one, so it is just printing them out. And what I can do is that I can, just to make it interesting, I go there and I make some of them less than 5. Christina here also less than 5, and let's make one of them. Oh, I've given the abnormal spaces over here just to clean that one. So I'll just make it as well. So now if I save and if I run that again, you will look at that. Now it will just return those values which are greater than 5. So ln is not greater than 5, and then it just basically gives whatever. So wherever there are spaces, of course it will give that, and wherever there are not, it will. So you can play with this data whatever you want, whatever way you want. Are you guys getting that one? You can play with data. And by the way, if I ask a question, did you guys do something like this in your programming script one, where you were basically not understanding? So you have to. Okay, Natalina, no problem. Yes, check email domain letters Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, or off the week after. Yeah, so week 15th week of 15 has 3 days off because of a conference going on. You're right. Who mentioned that? I think Alan mentioned that. So they are off because of the conference, and that's really a disturbance. And by the way, just for your information, I will also be in Newfoundland for those days. Annie would be also there because we are all coming for the conference. But ironically, we'll come on Sunday, and I have to leave on Tuesday night. Yes, so used for each event. That's wonderful. So you guys use that. But even does that make much more sense now? How to access the data and how to play with that data? Does that make much more sense now? Now you are comfortable a bit more in understanding how to access the data. I'll just make it right. It's very bad. So has that played some changing? No. Next week we will have all classes. Next week we'll have classes. Conference week is after that. It's a start with 15. Right? So next week. So if I show you the calendar, next week we'll have all classes as per schedule, but the week after 16, 17, 18 are off, and we'll have only one class, scheduled one class on Friday. Sorry, on Thursday. On Thursday we'll have that one. All right. So this is how we just talk about these things, and we have got this one. Now, this users.for each is very, very important. You can always play a lot of things. You can use the regular expression to implement on that one, and you can do a lots of wonderful things that you might want to do. So this is something. So again, one thing that I would like you to just take away from here is the constructor function and prototypal inheritance. Are you guys understanding this prototypal inheritance and constructor function, everything clearly? Do you guys understand that one? And by the way, we have reached to a point where we are about to just merge into, like as I told you, our both courses will be merged into one, because I will be discussing the same topics over the week, because now we start this way, and then we just merge at some point of time. And as I told you, that we'll be having our first QAP as well. Sorry, second QAP as well. That will be coming this week, sometime late this week, and you will be getting that one. And we'll be trying to work our way with that QAP. Right? Okay. So let's continue and let's talk about a little more topics rather. So in this part, I was just trying to talk about this one. Let me just show you. So if I ask you, this is the data. If I ask you to do something in this data, let's do that. So can you write a code like this, maybe for each, that all those users from these users who are logged in, like their logged in is true, that if you see only Bob's logged in is true. So you may want to change maybe some others as well. For example, you want to change this Christina, this one. I want you to show the records that have a logged in equal to true. Can you guys just try that out? Little code just for the practice purpose. I want you to write the code that will just bring out those users which are logged in. Milana, are you informing that we don't have a class next week? Like, yes, 9th, maybe, yes, 9th also may be off. It's a very disturbed weeks. Okay, yes, thank you very much, Milana. So that's something that might be a problem. Okay, so I'm expecting someone. someone will be sharing the code. Again, all those users which are logged in through, I want their information only. Who have their logged in is equal true. Will I get some code from someone? Vanessa, can you try it out? Rebecca, Jeniel, Ethan, and Manny. Manny, I would be waiting for your code as well. Can you try that out? Yes, I'm waiting for someone to come up. Okay, yeah, why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? Yes, that's very much possible. Even and how it is possible, I can just make a comment today and October 4 JavaScript. Let me make it be there now shortly. Even code will. Yes, I'll be happy to see some of you coming up with a solution because it's something that you have already done before, and it's something that I think you would like to do because you had that before and you had a little problem in understanding that one. Hopefully now you will be able to do that. And as I said, I will be sharing some more practice questions. I'll stop sharing for a second and I'll stop recording as well because I won't be discussing anything new now. Today it was a shorter session, started late and ending earlier. So I would be sharing some practice questions with you for the functions as well. Just give me a second and that. But